Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So Norway Chess Championship is underway, we have classical games, and if the game ends up in a draw, we have Armageddon game. White has 10 minutes and black has 7 minutes, but if the game ends up in a draw, black wins. And let's go to the second round, Armageddon game between Magnus Carlsen and Wesley. So let's see what happened. Magnus Carlsen had white pieces and he started with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, and knight to f6. So we have a Berlin defense of Spanish game. Now d3, bishop to c5, bishop captures on c6, d pawn recaptures. White cannot grab unprotected pawn on e5, because after knight captures on e5, then queen d4, threatening to mate or capture the knight. So white continues with castling, and now bishop to d6, protecting pawn on e5. Bishop goes to g5, h6, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes back to h4, and now queen to e7. And now white strikes the center with d4. Now black cannot capture because then e5, forking both pieces. Bishop can capture, knight captures, rook to e1, and there goes our queen. So black plays bishop to g4, pinning the knight. Knight from b goes to d2, and now black castles queen side, rook to e1, and now g5, unpinning the knight. Bishop goes to g3, and now knight to h5. Pawn on e5 is 3 times attacked. If white grabs the pawn, then bishop can be deployed to c5, pinning this pawn on f2, and the queen is also pinned. Quite unpleasant position for white, as black threatens to capture bishop on g3 and then advance with the h-pawn. Anyway, in the game, c3 was played. E-pawn captures on d4, c-pawn recaptures, bishop to b4. Well, black is already better, attacking the central pawns. And then there are pins on his heavy pieces. It only takes one wrong move, let's say h3, then bishop captures knight on f3. Now here white has only bad options. If queen recaptures, then knight g3. After white recaptures, then knight on d2 is for free. If knight recaptures, then black wins the exchange. If g-pawn recaptures, then rook captures pawn on d4 and is going to grab this knight also. So in the game, white comes up with a very bold but dubious move. Queen goes to a4, targeting this pawn on a7. Well, white has decided to give up on the exchange, but at least tries with some counterplay. So bishop captures on f3, knight recaptures, bishop captures rook on e1, but white doesn't recapture immediately. Instead, queen captures pawn on a7. Well, black cannot remove the bishop from capturing, let's say after bishop to b4, then knight to e5, protecting this d7 square. So white is going to mate in 1, unless black queen captures the knight on e5, but then white is winning. In the game, queen to b4 was played. Now white cannot play knight to e5, because then queen to a5 and 8a square is protected. Instead, rook recaptures bishop on e1, knight captures bishop on g3, h-pawn recaptures, so black is exchange up and still has the edge. The best plan would be king to d7, and then rook to a8, attacking the queen, trying to force the trade of queens. This way black would convert his advantage more easily. But in the game, well, black does try to win, try with the queen trade. Queen to b6 was played. Now the problem is that white king has free squares along the a file and can avoid the trade. So queen to a8 was played. King to d7, queen to a4. Black king is in the open and is prone to an attack, so white suddenly has counterplay. f6 was played, preventing this knight to e5 jump. So white doesn't play e5. d5 was played instead, trying to open some files. King goes back to c8, and now white continues with e5, so white is serious about opening files. Naturally, black cannot capture with pawn on e5, because if black captures on e5, then queen to a8. King d7 is the only move. Knight to e5 check. Well, king has a few options, but is lost in all of them. Let's see, after king d6, then knight f7, forking king and the rook. Black loses decisive material. If king e8, then knight g6 is check. King can go either to f7 or d7. If king f7, then knight captures rook with check. Again, black loses decisive material. Well, computer says it's mate in 7, but I'll leave it for you to find it. If, however, king d7, then rook e7 check. King d6, queen a3 check. If king captures pawn, then rook e5, king c4, and queen c3 checkmate. And if black defends the check with king, queen, then rook e6. If king captures pawn on d5, then rook e5. When the king is gone, queen is for free. If king d7, then knight to e5 check. King goes to c8, and queen to a8 would be checkmate. Okay, let's go back to our game. So black played king b8, preventing queen to a8. E-pawn captures on f6. C-pawn recaptures on d5. F-pawn goes to f7. Now here white intends to deploy the knight to e5 and then to d7, forking king, and the f8 square, preparing to promote the pawn. So queen to f6 was played. Knight to e5, rook from h goes to f8. White can, of course, jump with knight to d7 and forking all these pieces. But then rook captures on d7, queen recaptures, and queen captures pawn on f7. And the material and the position is totally equal. But Carlsen's instinct tells him that he is better. So in this position, rook to e3 was played, preparing a deadly attack on the a file. And black has decided to give up on the exchange. Rook captures pawn on f7, but white doesn't recapture. Rook to a3 was played. Checkmate in one is underway. So black plays c6, the only defensive move, creating an escape square on c7. Queen to a7 check. Maybe the best option for black would be king to c8. This way pawn on b7 is protected, even if white tries with rook f3. Queen captures knight, rook captures rook. Queen to e1 check, king h2. Rook to d7, defending b7 square. Rook captures, king captures. Yeah, then white captures pawn on b7, and white is a pawn up, but it would take a lot of precision from white to convert the advantage into victory. Okay, so in the game, king to c7 was played. Rook goes to b3, preparing to strike on b7 and capture this rook. Rook goes to b8, defending, so this is the defense the black has set up. Unfortunately, this rook to b8 was a fatal blunder. White continues with rook to f3. Queen captures knight on e5, rook captures rook on f7 check. King goes to d8. And now white has mate in maximum 5 moves. And it would start with queen to c5. After queen to c5, black can only delay the mate for a couple of moves, but queen f8 is not defendable. After a random move, let's say, then simply queen f8, queen e8 defending queen d6. If king c8, then queen c7. If queen d7, then queen d7 checkmate. So in the game, Carlsen missed this opportunity. Rook to f8 was played, check. When black removes the king, white gains the rook and has decisive material advantage. And therefore, in this position, Wesley resigned the game. So I hope you like this game. I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.